there, Squirrel Army. How's it going? Today we're talking about Marvo Deep Operative. You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing. Alright, so Marvo 3 and Dimir, so blue and black, 1/8. When it attacks, we clash with the defending player, so we reveal the top card of our library. And if the card that's on top of our library is a greater mana value than the card that our opponent reveal, we win. And whenever we win a clash with an opponent, we draw a card, which is the top card that we just revealed. Then we may cast a spell from your hand with mana value 8 or less without paying its mana cost. So we get a short-term omniscience. And like I don't think we're going to have many things that are in our deck that are mana value 8 or more. So, but then again, you kind of want to play high mana stuff with this commander because you want to win those clashes, or revealing the top card of each of your decks and saying, well, mine has more mana value than yours, so I win. If we don't win, it's not very good. We want to win these clashes. It's a 1/8. So, it has some of that octopus vibe. So it has to have 8 there a couple of times, I guess. That's fine. 1 power, do not care, because we are not caring about dealing commander damage to people. One thing I do feel like it's pretty tough and bulky, but we just don't, even if it'll survive, we don't want people blocking this thing, even if it's only going to deal 1 damage. So, because we want to perhaps get things like the Monarch Initiative, other things like that sometimes, or whatever, or just combat damage triggers, we might be running some of the swords, though I don't think you actually would, because they're only 3 mana. But yeah, you can run a whole bunch of things that say when you deal combat damage, or whatever, you draw a card. So this one seems like the most fun and most interesting one to me. This is one of the first Dimir commanders that I'm actually oh, this seems like this is interesting, or this seems like fun. It doesn't have to be from clashing with itself. We can clash with other cards in our deck, but if we win, we draw a card, then we can cast something with mana value 8 or less without paying its mana cost, which is pretty darn good. So we again get that omniscience sort of effect to cast something for free. So I think the top of our curve wants to be 8, maximum of 8. We don't want to have anything that we can't cast with our commander's ability, and we want to clash as much as what we can with our opponents. Certainly our commander can do that, but we want other clash cards. I don't know how many other clash cards there are that are really good. I don't even think there's any, but that's I don't know. I've never looked it up, so do not shoot me if I don't know, because this is a very strange mechanic, and most people would never look it up anyway, until there's a commander that's like this, or people would probably be saying for years, hey, why don't we have a clash commander? Let's clash on, or whatever, So, I don't know. It does feel very much like a deck that I kind of feel like I want to build it now, honestly. I feel like this could be cool, because, it's just, if we win, we get to draw a card and play our 8-drop or less. I think the bottom of your curve wants to be at, 6. Or most of your curve wants to be at 6 to 7 and 8. That's where you want it. Of course, you want some mana rocks and some other things, to get your commander out and that sort of thing. But beyond that, I feel like we want to have as many big spells as possible. Yes, they're going to get caught in our hands sometimes and whatnot, but, even, I don't know how much Omniscience actually is. I think it's 7 or 8. Maybe it's 9. I'm not sure now. But, if we actually could find the ability to play that. Yeah, no, I just looked it up. It's 10. So, yeah, but if we could find space to play those sorts of things, that's where we want to be. We want to be playing these, really dumb things. Like you could play like some sea monster tribal style stuff that wouldn't be too bad. Like I think because like they're pretty janky in a way, but our commander is a sea monster, so that kind of works pretty well. And like a few of those like most of the big good sea monsters are like 6, 7, 8 mana. So we could just be like running a whole bunch of sea monsters in here and whatnot, that sort of thing. That sounds like kind of fun. Just like big beefy dudes just like coming into Smash and just a bunch of like, I clash with you, opponent. Prepare for clashing. You know, like, and I know every time you're going to have to explain what clashing does with your opponent, even if you've done it 50 times in the game already. You got like same with parlay. Like every time you've got to be explaining what parlay does. Like whenever it happens, like not to me, but like to literally everyone else. Like everyone else always forgets what things do. Like I forget what some of my stuff does, but still, like everyone forgets what everyone else's cards do because they like too focused on their own cards and going, well, what do my cards do? You know, and that sort of thing. Especially when they're new cards, like, or especially when it's a mechanic that you know isn't like too common. Damn. You know, like, oh man, I kind of want to build this. I really do. Like, I don't know how many Clash things that there are. I kind of want to look it up. There's like 13 cards. There's 13 cards that clash with opponents besides this guy. So I don't think there's a lot of support for this. So I think you're fairly reliant on your commander just to attack. So I almost feel like it's funny. You almost want to think about like how can we take extra combats, but like we could take extra turns, but that could be really gross. Like we won't get it on the same turn, but if we're time walking and that sort of stuff, like it doesn't really matter because we're just going to time walk and you know, get another turn to friggin' do the same thing again and do it again and do it again. So maybe like the best strategy with this commander is just to take like infinite turns and infinitely clash with your opponents and things like that. Like, and just like drop everything from your hand or from your library that's 8-drop or less or whatnot. You know, and as many just big things as possible. Like, obviously you can run a bunch of those Clash cards. I don't know, again, how many of them are really that amazing. But still, like, could do it. So, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I kind of want to do it because it sounds kind of cool. It feels like a really cool mechanic just to be like, I clash with you, opponent. You know, and whatnot. And this guy's just going to be there just like casting you 8-drops or less for free and just drawing you cards. So like just playing big dumb sea monsters and things like that seems real fun to me too, or just whatever that sort of style of stuff. Just big beady boys and whatnot that do things when they enter, when they deal combat damage, or whatever, that sort of thing. Or even just big scary things. Like we can run some Eldrazi in this or whatever. So there's lots and lots of things that are 8-drop or less that, you know, between 8 and 6 that we could really run, like that aren't really that good because they're like 8-drops or whatever. So you're almost never going to get them. And just cheat them into play by clashing with our opponent and taking extra turns. Like, I don't think there's that many extra turns that are between like 6 and 8 mana. Maybe there's a couple, but like not a huge amount. So. Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. Like, obviously, that's going to be like one of the most powerful versions or the more powerful versions of this deck. But again, like you could run like you probably want like more than 50% of your deck to be like these high drops, even if you can't cast them from your hand all the time. Even if they're kind of trapped in your hand, you just like the other half of your deck you want to be like, or most of your deck, like at least like third of your deck is like lands anyway. So you're going to say like another third or so is like a lot of your big creatures and whatnot, and like 1/10 of your deck is like ramp and removal. I guess, like, so that's 2/3. So you probably have like, I don't know, maybe 4/3 left for big creatures. So that could be really good. Yeah, that does seem kind of cool. Yeah. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on it. Do you feel the way that I feel about this octopus? Do you think that this is pretty cool and pretty fun? I hope you do. I mean, you can let me know your thoughts down there in the comments below if you do or if you don't. Whatever, that's all cool. I'm still kind of interested in it, so I might tinker with it at some point. But anyway, if you guys do want to see this as a commander deck, don't forget to go to the poll and vote for it in the poll, because otherwise I won't know that you want it, and I won't build it on the channel. So you need to get those votes in for this boy if you want to see him on the poll. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and hope you join me again in another one.